All right, we're not going to take too much time, but I figured I'd do a follow-up video. Just got through working out. My face is no longer numb. And after that root canal. But let's just talk about this whole April O'Neil thing. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You guys have seen the, what do you call it? The trailer that's out. Seth Rogen going to tell you how that was going to be completely dead on arrival. It is, but they saw this, of course, Black April, and you had the TikTokers who were born in the 2000s, as well as, I don't know, Redditors who are yet again running with this lie that she was originally created to be black. That is verifiably false. And this is not my opinion. Objectively speaking, that is simply not true. It's one of those things that gain legs well after the fact. Much like the whole X-Men civil rights thing. I talked about this in the previous video, where nobody made that depiction for decades, and then out of nowhere it became a thing. And people will misquote creatives and all that were involved in it, and then they will then be disingenuous because, well, they would like for this to be true, but objectively it's not. You guys can go to, we're going to go through the thread in this video, but you guys can go through the thread that I posted about this, which gives you the facts. So if you want to, you have some TikTok idiot who is making these claims, just show them this, and you know, we're going to go through it in the video, but you can just show it to them in text if that's the way they prefer. It has all the data. It's not that easy, or excuse me, not that difficult to debunk. But I say here, more than likely you've seen screenshots that have either been altered or taken out of context, but let's take it from the top. Here is the appearance. So you're going to see 4 photos here that I shared. The first appearances of her is in the second issue of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in the mid-'80s, okay? She's clearly white. And it's even double because you can see her standing next to another person who was not meant to be white, at least in this publication. And I'll show you right here. So this is the original depiction of April. She's right here. You can see her, and she's standing right next to her boss, who is Baxter, who is a black man. Now, the fact that a lot of the original work was done, let's say in black and white, it's sort of lended these idiots some sort of non-argument, let's say, where they would try to base some of the shading and stuff and how it was done. We'll go over that a little more in a bit, but how it was done, and they will then say, well, this person was black, when it's simply not true. But you can see Baxter being a completely different color. You can see her hair isn't even among what you guys have been sharing around. I'll show you that in a minute as well. But they had no problem making Baxter black. If they wanted her to be black, they would have made her black. Ironically enough, in the original design, the original concept design of Baxter, he was not black. Doesn't matter, in the first publication he was, but that's the argument isn't about Baxter. The argument is about April O'Neil, which, yeah, considering that last name, it would seem apparently obvious, but it's not. Here, same issue, standing right next to him. You can see that they're not the same color. Okay, period. That's a white woman. That's a black man. It's really that simple. This is the next issue. You see her right there. She doesn't have that hair, which people keep sharing around, and you can see this is clear and obvious, a white woman. This is not up for debate. So we have it now in the first issue as well. So that's issue 2 and 3. You can see her and how she's depicted, and she's depicted as a white woman. There's also the cover of that of the second issue, which you see her there, and she's clearly a white woman with brownish reddish hair. Continuing on, this is the first time we saw that comic colored, and you can see that it was in the trade paperback. You can see that she's white, bro. It's not up for dispute, but I already know where you're going with this. You're going to see people that have been sharing this out as I documented here. This myth wasn't a thing for decades, but you'll often see people refer to her depictions in the 4th issue when she got her hair done. It's a perm. White women wore perms in the 80s. And this is what these TikTokers born in the 2000s don't seem to understand. They see a woman with some curly-ish looking hair, and they look at it, well, she must have been black. That is simply not the case. If you were born in the 80s, you know this. And if you lived through the 80s, you know this. I mean, I guess what is Cher? Is she black? No, of course. The people wore perms. That's just what it was. And this is the 11th issue, and you can see her. This is not altered, right? Not colored. You can see it's just a white woman with a perm. And she talks about it in that 4th issue where she says, hey, I got a new hairdo. And that's what a lot of people have been sharing out. This also completely debunks this nonsense because you've seen people sharing this around, right? And because it's black and white again, and it's showing a woman with a tan, they're looking at it and they're taking it, well, that means that she must have been black. That is not the case. You can see her in the colored version of the book. That's the actual colored version of the book. I don't know what to tell you. It's a white woman with brownish hair. It's just what it is. Those are the facts. Continuing on. I say, has there been versions of April that have been black? Absolutely, yes. But none of them are original, and one of which you guys keep sharing isn't even canon. There was a deal where they were having other creators that would be part of it, and there was a depiction of April that was black then. But one of the biggest misconceptions of this claim is pertaining to April's race is actually based off a misquote. And the quote is right here. Now, you have seen people, they will say that she was based because he had a girlfriend or wife at the time. They will say that that's who she was modeled after. That is an objective lie. That is not objectively, that is a lie. That's not my opinion. What they have done is they took this quote here. You can see this is in 2002. It's narrated by Kevin Eastman. It's two creators. You need Peter Laird and Kevin Eastman. Those are the important people. And you can see that he spells out originally created as an Asian character in Pete's notes. So, again, that's not the claim. The claim isn't that she was originally depicted as an Asian. The claim is that she was originally depicted as a black person. That is false. Before she was published, yes, Pete originally conceptualized her as being Asian. Again, doesn't really matter. If you're an artist, you understand this. If you're a creative, you understand this. You go in with a concept art and then the final art may be different. That's all this is saying is that, yeah, Asian, yeah, but again, didn't make a final publication. And he says, and this is the quote that people are misquoting, but named after an African-American woman I once knew. The character of April O'Neil was introduced in issue 2 and would have a bunch of different looks throughout the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles history. So the claim here that people are taking that, well, that's who she designed her. That's who she was designed after, but that's not true. That's who she was named after. And he spells it right here. Don't take my word for anything. He says, but named after. Created as originally created as an Asian character, but named after an African-American woman that he once knew. That African-American woman isn't even African-American. It's a mixed woman that was his ex named April. Okay. And you've probably seen that picture going around. That was not how she was originally conceptualized. It's who she was named after. I continue on. This is the end all. Peter Laird, again, originally designed a character. He said, if you ask me, this is in, he said this multiple times. You can go look at some of his question and answers that he's done over the years. He said there's two quotes. He said, if you ask me, I always saw April O'Neil as white. And another quote, he says, as the co-creator of the character of April O'Neil, and as someone who has always imagined her as white and very likely of Irish, Scottish, English ancestry. That's what he says. Again, this is not my opinion. These are the facts. They're the facts. Not my opinion. They are the facts. We're done here. If you want to say that there have been depictions of her that have had her be black, definitely as a recent, whatever. Okay. Yes, you can say that. But originally, in terms of what she was conceptualized, in terms of how she was published, she was not black originally. Not my opinion. That is a fact. Tell that TikToker that you're listening to, he's an idiot. But this is what they do. They take quotes, they misquote them just because they want to perpetuate this idea. It's almost a We Was Kangs type of situation. That's not what we're dealing with here. She was originally depicted as a white woman, and she was not designed after her. And you can see after this wife or ex, and you can see that is the case when you just do even surface level research. Stop listening to these weirdos who all of a sudden became fans of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles yesterday or today because they saw some trailer, and now because people are griping about her being race swapped, now they're trying to make it seem as if she was always this way. That is not true. This is not my opinion. This is a fact. I have shown you. Wherever you're viewing the content, I appreciate you. If you enjoyed it, you may be interested in my comic book company, Rippaverse Comics. Our first book and campaign, ISOM #1, brought in $3.7 million with tens of thousands of satisfied customers. Visit Rippaverse.com to check out our store and stay up to date with the latest campaigns from one of the hottest new comic book companies. Also, my first big step towards a parallel economy was the development of my personal website, ericdjuly.com. This entirely replaced my Patreon. Now, if you enjoy this content, please consider becoming a member over at the website. We have an ever-expanding list of perks for various membership tiers, a forum, and a phone app. Some of these perks will even benefit you if you're fans of the Rippaverse. Anyway, I appreciate you so much for being a supporter and or customer. I even got a little love for my haters.